in the various word-based languages, we can find sets of terms that are connected through synonymy, cognomy, and even contradistinction, forming more or less broad semantic constellations. There are numerous semantic constellations, depending on the field and terms in question. In the field of happiness, we will also find semantic constellations, each with a differential involvement depending on the language that is being dealt with. Indeed, each word-based language contains more or less broad semantic constellations, dependent on the field and the respective extralinguistic contexts. But neither the various terms nor the different semantic constellations of word-based languages are homogeneous. In reality, what happens, for example, in the field of happiness, is that the different meanings of the term happy are not modulations of the same universal meaning. Strictly speaking, we could not even speak of synonyms, but of different meanings that are juxtaposed by virtue of certain similarities. These are, more often than not, conventional comparisons resulting from an artificial homologation that dispenses with the differential notes and nuances. This makes translatability at the level of elementary terms less likely. It is therefore necessary to take a critical tour of the happiness-related semantic constellations of some languages, such as Spanish, Latin, Greek, English, or German. In Spanish, felicidad refers to a semantic constellation to which terms such as enjoyment, pleasure, fruition, joy, delight, etc., and their opposites belong: unhappiness, suffering, boredom, pain, sadness, etc. Normally, these terms tend to be substituted for each other, as if their equivalence was crystalline, but strictly speaking, the truth is that none of the pairs of terms that can be formed are not synonymous. And many times we will be faced with equivocal terms. What happens here is that each term found in the happiness constellation has its own genesis and historical development, which differentiates it from the others. Likewise, we find the Latin terms that are usually translated for happiness, such as felicitas, beatitudo, and laetitia, which cannot be said to be synonymous either. In these cases, we are dealing with Latin concepts of independent origin, although they do refer to objective phenomena related to agricultural and livestock abundance. What to do with the convergence of terms within the field of happiness? Do we understand this convergence as a starting point or as a result of regressive operations? Now, such doubts put us before the problem of differing conceptions and distinct phenomena. In relation to the Greek language, happiness corresponds with eudaimonia, hedone, and makariotes. But the correspondence with the Latin language would not be clear either. Felicitas for eudaimonia, beatitudo for makariotes? This type of linking reveals a great naivete on the part of those who practice it, confusing the signifiers with the meanings by uncritically accepting dictionary definitions. Suddenly, the correspondences between all these cononyms of Spanish and Greek are not evident. The Greek terms are not primitive and already presuppose, at least in practice, a certain doctrine on happiness. In English, felicidad and similar terms are usually translated into happy and happiness. We are actually faced with simple homologations between English and Spanish. But these homologations somehow hide the phenomena that underlie the concepts of happiness and happy. In relation to the concepts of happiness in English, through hap and haphazard, we would say it has to do with chance and good luck, rather than security. Good luck appears as a phenomenon, something that transforms adversity and insecurity into tranquility and well-being. Thus, happiness would be linked to phenomena related to good luck and fortune, not grace. The happy man will be the fortunate one, not the favored one. Finally, the German terms you see on the screen are matched with the Spanish felicidad. But these correspondences are not unambiguous either, since they refer us to different contexts, sometimes of a religious type, others relating to pleasures of the body, or perhaps to happiness-related phenomena of a more spiritual nature, not necessarily religious. By way of conclusion, we must say that correspondences between the different terms found within the diverse semantic constellations relating to happiness in the various languages are above all the result of artificial homologations. This is like saying that viewing happiness-related concepts through a purely lexical lens without taking into account extra-linguistic phenomena is inadequate. The terms as they appear in the linguistic constellations pertaining to the numerous languages are already conceptualized and engaged in theoretical and/or doctrinal traditions, however minimal they may be. These terms are sometimes independent in their genesis, but have been concatenated with others over the course of their development. However, these elemental, essential differences between the meanings of the words of different languages that are coordinated with the term happiness tend to be attenuated or distorted to make translation itself possible. The development of the presence of traditional languages helps erase many differences in reality itself. Gustavo Bueno, The Happiness Delusion, page 83.